Good morning students. I hope you are all doing good. Let us see what we are going to discuss in today's class. Good morning students. In previous class we have seen how we can express the concentration terms. In the different types of concentration terms we have seen molarity, molality, mole fraction, weight percentage, weight volume percentage, volume percentage, ppm, ppb, like that, all molarity, every concentration term we have seen. All are very important. Now coming to first part of solutions we have completed. Now coming to second part, that is liquid solutions. First, what is this liquid solutions? The solutions in which both solute and solvent are liquids are called liquid solutions, in which both liquids are volatile. Meaning of volatile, easily evaporatable. So both the both liquids, that means even solute is a liquid as a solvent as a liquid, both liquids are volatile in nature. That one we have to keep it in mind while we are going to start this one. Okay ma? These liquid solutions are classified into two types. Ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. There are two types of liquid solutions. First one is ideal solutions, second one is non-ideal solutions. Ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law at any conditions. Ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law at any condition. Non-ideal solutions will not follow Raoult's law. They will not follow Raoult's law. That's why again these are classified into two types. Non-ideal solutions which show positive deviation from Raoult's law, and non-ideal solutions which show negative deviation from Raoult's law. This is small introduction part regarding liquid solutions. At that time we are entering into the concept, every solution is going to be getting clarity. Okay na? But before going through that one, just I would like to give small introduction part regarding liquid solutions. Liquid solutions are classified into two types. Those are ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. Ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law. Non-ideal solutions, they will not follow Raoult's law. They will show some deviation from Raoult's law. So two types of again non-ideal solutions are there. Those are one will show positive deviation from Raoult's law. Another one will show negative deviation from Raoult's law. Now we have to see that what is meant by Raoult's law. Then why some solutions like ideal solutions they are able to follow Raoult's law, and why some solutions they are not able to follow Raoult's law. If they don't follow Raoult's law, how they are showing positive deviation from Raoult's law and how they are showing negative deviation from Raoult's law. All these concepts we are going to study in this heading liquid solutions, our second part in solutions concept. Is it okay? So before going to directly Raoult's law, these are all related to one main term that is called vapor pressure. Okay, now first our side heading is after completion of this vapor pressure. Coming to this vapor pressure, let us consider one beaker, empty beaker. In this empty beaker, I am going to fill one type of liquid that is called water. Let us consider water I am going to fill. Initially, we have taken empty beaker only. Okay, after some time, we have added some amount of water to the beaker. Initially, at the time we are going to add water to this beaker, entire water is present in the form of liquid state only. Entire water is present in the form of liquid state only. Okay, now slowly at the time, let us consider time t is equal to 0. Now slowly time is going on. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, like that time is going on. While time is going on, slowly the molecules present in gas state increases. At 1 second, 2 molecules might be. At 3 seconds, they will become 3 molecules. Like that, after 10 seconds, it will reach some 6 molecules, like that. Why these number of molecules in gas state is getting increased? What is the reason? Because initially itself we told that both liquids are volatile. In that I am going to consider now only one liquid. It is not a solution. Only pure component I am going to take here. In this beaker I am going to take only pure component. Till now I did not attain the liquid solution. At the time I will mention. Remember carefully. Okay. Here what is meant by volatility? Volatility is the property called evaporatable. Easily the component can be changed to gas state. The type of gases, the type of liquids are called easily volatile liquids. Now coming to this one. This is the volatile liquid I have taken in the beaker. Initially at time t is equal to 0, no gas molecule will be present. Total, it is in the form of liquid only. At the time is going on, slowly these liquid components they are going to be converted to gaseous components. How they will convert to gas? Because these surface molecules present in the liquid, they will attain the energy from surroundings. They will attain the surroundings energy, and these molecules, after getting the energy from surroundings, they have enough energy to convert to gas state. So the molecules will be converted to gas state by absorbing surrounding energy. That process is called evaporation. That process is called evaporation. Evaporation can be taken at any temperature also. This is happened at room temperature, let us consider. Okay. Now slowly these molecules number is going to be increased. Initially 0 molecules are there in gas state. After some time 6 molecules are there. Okay. After some time the 6 molecules will be number increased. It will become 10 molecules. After some time 15 molecules. Like that, number of molecules present in the gas state increases. But after a particular time, the number of molecules will not be changed. The number of molecules will not be changed. Sir, how can you say that number of molecules cannot be changed? Are you going to calculate the number of molecules? No, I am not going to calculate the number of molecules. I am going to calculate the pressure applied by the gas molecules on the liquid state, on the surface of the liquid. These molecules, they are going to apply pressure on the surface of the liquid. Is it correct or not? Now, for example, At time t is equal to 0, number of molecules zero in gaseous state ma. In gaseous state, number of molecules 0, pressure is also 0. At time t is equal to 10 seconds, number of molecules became 5. Let us take example. Then pressure reaches 0.1 atmosphere. At time t is equal to 30 seconds, these number of molecules became 10. Then pressure also increases, because when number of molecules are increased, automatically pressure also increases. Then this is 0.15 atmosphere. For example only I am telling 0.15 atmosphere, slightly increased. At time t is equal to 100 seconds, this number of molecules became, let us consider, 15. Then I observed that pressure became 0.2 atmosphere. Okay, after time 100 seconds, I told at a particular time after 100 seconds, I observed at time t is equal to 200 seconds, number of molecules will be 15 only, pressure will be 0.2 atmosphere only. At time t is equal to 300 seconds, number of molecules will be 15 only, 0.2 atmospheres pressure. What is the meaning of that one? Initially pressure is 0. The pressure became 0.1 atmosphere by time. Means their number of molecules on the surface, they are absorbing that energy and they are escaped into gaseous state. Because of that, pressure also increases. Number of molecules are also increased. After time 30 seconds, 10 molecules are there, 0.15 atmosphere. After time 100 seconds, 15 molecules are there, 0.2 atmospheres. But after this 100 seconds, whatever the time is there, number of molecules will not be changed, pressure also will not be changed. Okay, then what is this condition called? That at 100 seconds time, gas molecules and liquid molecules are said to be in equilibrium. Gas molecules and liquid molecules are said to be in equilibrium. At that equilibrium condition, number of molecules, they are converted to liquid state. Already they are present in gaseous state then number of molecules, they are converted to liquid state, and number of molecules they are converting from liquid state to gaseous state will be same. Number of molecules they are converting from gaseous state to liquid state, and number of molecules they are converting from liquid state to gaseous state, both are same. Sir, while time is going on, the liquid molecules, they are absorbing energy, okay, and they have to convert to gaseous state only. Why these gas molecules are converting to liquid state? See, continuously these gas molecules are roaming from here and there. Is it correct or not? At that time, they are going to hit the surface. They are going to lose some amount of energy to the surroundings again. They are going to lose the energy to the surroundings. By losing the energy to the surroundings, some gas molecules, they are converting from gas to liquid. At the same time, some gas molecules are converting from liquid to gas. These two processes, they are going to be equal at equilibrium condition. That state is called equilibrium. Both gaseous molecules and liquid molecules are said to be in equilibrium. Okay, now I have to talk about this equilibrium condition. After that, our actual concept, vapor pressure, I have to tell. I will tell the definition after completion of this equilibrium concept. Now see, condition. Suppose 15 molecules are present in gaseous state. Let us consider that 15 molecules are present in gaseous state. Okay, then These 15 molecules, out of these 15 molecules, at this 100 seconds time, 3 molecules they lose the energy and they convert it to liquid state. 3 molecules they lose the energy and they convert it to liquid state. At the same time, 3 molecules from liquid state, they will gain the energy from surface and they will be converted to gas state. That's why these 3 molecules they converted to liquid state maintained same number. That's why at 100 seconds, after 100 seconds, 15 number is not at all changed. That's why pressure is also not going to be changed. Please observe the condition. One is called forward process, conversion of liquid to gas. Another one is called reverse process, gas is converted to liquid. Both rates, rate of forward process means how many molecules they are converted from liquid state to gas state, and rate of backward process, how many molecules they are converted from gas state to liquid state, both are same. The process will not be stopped. Conversion of liquid to gas is happening. At the same time, gas is converted to liquid also will be happened. That state of condition is called equilibrium, which is particularly called as dynamic equilibrium. Which is particularly called as dynamic equilibrium. Rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. Rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. Both process will be taken place. Don't think that 15 molecules are present like that only and liquid will be present like that only. Out of 15 molecules, 3 or 4 molecules they are converted from gas state to liquid state. Same time, 3 or 4 molecules they are converted from liquid state to gas state. How many molecules they are converted from liquid state to gas state? That many molecules will be converted from gas state to liquid state. That rates are same at the time of equilibrium. That equilibrium is called dynamic equilibrium. Rate of, at the time of dynamic equilibrium, rate of evaporation is equal to rate of condensation. Why I am telling these many times? Because at the time of equilibrium only, what is the pressure applied by these gas molecules? These 15, they are applying some pressure on the surface of the liquid, own liquid. That is called vapor pressure of that liquid. And you can get the doubt, sir, after 100 seconds only, why these rates are getting equal? Initially, forward process is more than backward process. Rate of evaporation is greater than rate of condensation initially. Slowly the rate of evaporation decreases and rate of condensation increases because number of molecules, some considerable number of molecules present in gas state should be there. Then only rate of backward process also will be high. Then slowly rate of forward process, that is rate of evaporation, decreases and rate of condensation increases. Finally they will reach one state that both rates are getting same. Initially rate of evaporation is greater than rate of condensation. That rate of evaporation slowly decreases and the rate of condensation slowly increases, and both will be same at equilibrium condition. That is called dynamic equilibrium. At that equilibrium condition, these gas molecules, they are going to apply pressure on the surface of the liquid. That is called vapor pressure, pure vapor pressure of that liquid. If it is water, that is called vapor pressure of water. For example, for your understanding purpose, I am telling what is the vapor pressure of water. Here I considered at after 100 seconds time, whatever the time is there, pressure is not changed. That means at equilibrium, what is the pressure maintained? That is called vapor pressure of water. Vapor pressure of pure component is represented by P0. Vapor pressure of pure component is represented by P0. It is depending on temperature. Now at the time I am going to explain all these things, I am going to keep one temperature, particular temperature. Let us consider room temperature. If temperature is changed, increased, automatically vapor pressure also increases only. That is the next condition. We will see why at the time we are going to explain remaining concepts. First thing is, what is the definition of this vapor pressure? If you are very much clear, then remaining concepts will be somewhat easy for us. Okay, ma? Now, I will define what is that vapor pressure. The pressure applied by gaseous molecules on the surface of a liquid at equilibrium is called vapor pressure, which is represented by P naught. This is pure vapor pressure of particular component, because we did not prepare any solution, ma. Please observe carefully. Till now I did not talk about solution. Simply I am defining what is that vapor pressure. Okay, the pressure applied by the gaseous molecules on the surface of liquid at equilibrium is called vapor pressure, which is represented by P naught. Okay, I hope you are clear up to now. Now we will continue with the next one, that is, what about partial vapor pressure? Our next side heading is partial vapor pressure. Partial vapor pressure is represented by simply P only, small p. Pure vapor pressure is represented by P naught. Okay, now for understanding this partial vapor pressure, now I am considering two components. This is liquid A. This is liquid B. At normal and a particular temperature, room temperature, let us consider, liquid A has vapor pressure, that is called pure vapor pressure. Till now that one only I talked. That's why that much slowly I told everything. Every liquid has particular vapor pressure at a particular temperature. Now I considered at room temperature, liquid A has some vapor pressure, that is pure component only, na? It is not prepared into solution. That is called P naught of A. Pure vapor pressure of A is represented as P naught of A. At the same temperature, liquid B has some vapor pressure, that is P naught of B. Okay, now we are going to prepare one solution. We are going to prepare one solution by mixing these two components A and B. Liquid A and liquid B is going to be mixed to form a solution. Solution which is prepared by mixing A and B. Solution of A and B. Both are liquids, ma. That's why this is called liquid-liquid solution. Okay. After taking this one as solution, here in liquid state, A components are present as well as B components are also present. Same method is going to be followed. After some time, some molecules of A will be in vapor state. Some molecules of B also will be in vapor state. As this is the gas, even solution also, we cannot separate A components and B components, because uniformly distributed by A and B. Uniformly distributed by this total thing is uniformly distributed by A and B. Is it correct or not? So in this mixture, we have particles of A as well as particles of B also. Now particles of A are going to apply some pressure on the solution. Particles of A are going to apply some pressure on the solution. That is called partial vapor pressure of A. And next one, particles of B are also going to apply some pressure on the solution. That is called partial vapor pressure of B. Now I hope you understood. If you take pure component, that is called pure vapor pressure. If you prepare a solution, after preparing that solution, A components will be converted to gas state, as well as B components are also converted to gas state, B particles also. This total pressure, what is that? This total pressure is not because of only A molecules or only B molecules. This is the pressure because of A molecules as well as B molecules. This total pressure is because of A molecules as well as B molecules, meaning it is not completely because of A or it is not completely because of B. That's why some pressure is because of A, that is called partial vapor pressure of A. Some pressure is because of B, that is called partial vapor pressure of B. This type of condition we will take when two or more gases are present here. When we take purely only one gas, that is called vapor pressure only we will take. That is the difference between partial vapor pressure and vapor pressure. That is the difference between vapor pressure and partial vapor pressure. Vapor pressure is represented by P0, which is exactly for only one single component. Suppose if you take only liquid A or liquid B, then they have individual components. But at the time if you take solution, those components are present in gas state also. Here also equilibrium will be existed. Here also after some time total pressure is not going to be changed. At that equilibrium condition, what is the pressure applied by A? That is called partial vapor pressure of A. And what is the pressure applied by B? That is called partial vapor pressure of B. Okay, now I am going to write the terms under that one. Observe carefully. Slowly, very slowly I am teaching. Please understand carefully. P0 of A is equal to vapor pressure of A. P0 of B is equal to vapor pressure of B. PA is equal to partial vapor pressure of A. PB is equal to partial vapor pressure of B. Okay, these are the terms till now we have gotten. Those are first one vapor pressure and second one partial vapor pressure. Is it clear, ma? Now we will see what is meant by Raoult's law. After completion of this vapor pressure and partial vapor pressure, we have to go through Raoult's law. Raoult's law. Statement is partial vapor pressure of a component is directly proportional to partial vapor pressure of a component is directly proportional to mole fraction of that component in liquid state. I will explain the statement also. Before that, what is the statement? Let us see once again. Partial vapor pressure of a component is directly proportional to mole fraction of that component in liquid state. Its mole fraction in liquid state is chi A. Partial vapor pressure of a component. Suppose I am discussing with A component. That means A, capital A solute. Okay. For that, what is the mole fraction chi A? Partial vapor pressure Pa. So Pa is directly proportional to chi A. That is the meaning. From this statement we can understand Pa is directly proportional to chi A. Okay, how it is directly proportional and what about this one? Once I will explain. First we will see the formulae related to this one. After that I will go through what about this explanation. How this partial vapor pressure is directly proportional to mole fraction. I will explain. First see, partial vapor pressure of a component is directly proportional to mole fraction of that component in liquid state. Its mole fraction in liquid state is chi A. Pa is the partial vapor pressure of A component. Then Pa is equal to some constant at particular temperature. Pa is equal to P naught A into chi A. Pa is equal to P naught A into chi A. What is this P naught A? P naught A is equal to vapor pressure of A, which is constant. Vapor pressure of A, which is constant. That's why I removed this directly proportional and I kept this constant. So finally, this partial vapor pressure of A is equal to P naught A into chi A. This is first one. Like this, if you have another component, because a solution contains two components, like that here one component is discussed. Like that, if you have another component, let A is solute, I am going to consider solvent. Pb is directly proportional to mole fraction of B. This implies Pb is equal to P naught B into chi B, constant at particular temperature. Pb is equal to P naught B into chi B, where P naught B is equal to vapor pressure of pure vapor pressure of B, which is a constant at particular temperature, Finally, we can write the formula as Pb is equal to P naught B into chi B. Pb is equal to P naught B into chi B. Okay, what is meant by Pa? Partial vapor pressure of A. What is meant by Pb? Partial vapor pressure of B. Means see here, Pa and Pb. Then what is the total pressure? Total pressure is equal to partial vapor pressure of A plus partial vapor pressure of B. That is called Raoult's law. That is also, actually main statement is this one. Total pressure P is equal to partial vapor pressure of A plus partial vapor pressure of B, where capital P is equal to total pressure of gaseous mixture then it is equal to Pa plus Pb. If a solution is showing capital P is equal to Pa plus Pb, then that solution is following Raoult's law. If a solution is showing capital P is equal to Pa plus Pb, then that solution is following Raoult's law. And then immediately you can ask that, sir, automatically Pa and Pb are the two components which are present in gaseous state. That means partial vapor pressure of A and partial vapor pressure of B, those two are only in gaseous state. Automatically the total gaseous pressure must be equal to Pa plus Pb only. Why we are getting another condition? Here you are only telling that P is equal to Pa plus Pb solution only, it is following Raoult's law. The solution which obeys capital P is equal to Pa plus Pb only, it is following Raoult's law, like that. Don't think that one. I will say the conditions where capital P may not be equal to Pa plus Pb. I will explain clearly in what conditions that also will be there. Those are called non-ideal solutions. Okay, if a solution obeys, that one only I told initially, starting itself I told, there are two types of solutions in liquid solutions. Those are ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. Okay, ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law, non-ideal solutions will not follow Raoult's law. Okay, what is the meaning of that one? Once again I will come to this classification. Before that, partial vapor pressure of a component is directly proportional to mole fraction of that component in liquid state. This is called Raoult's law statement. According to that, I applied for A and B, and finally I got total pressure P is equal to Pa plus Pb. Now substitute Pa formula here and Pb formula here, then you will get total pressure P is equal to P naught A into chi A plus P naught B into chi B. This is the formula, very important formula, 1, 2, 3. These three formula are very important in doing the problems. Remember carefully, all of you. Slowly I am teaching. That's because generally I observe that students will feel confusion in what is meant by vapor pressure and what is meant by partial vapor pressure. Difference between vapor pressure and partial vapor pressure, you have to be very clear. Okay, vapor pressure is the pressure of pure component. Partial vapor pressure is not the pure component. In solution, in mixture, gaseous mixture, Pa is partial vapor pressure of A and Pb is partial vapor pressure of B. That's why we have to remember carefully, and total pressure P is equal to P naught A into chi A plus P naught B into chi B. Till now, is it clear, all of you? Okay, so in today's class, we started with types of liquid solutions, and particularly I talked about this vapor pressure, clear explanation. After that, we have seen definition of vapor pressure. After that, partial vapor pressure also we have seen, and the terms. Next, Raoult's law statement. After that, this formula, Pa is equal to P naught A into chi A, Pb is equal to P naught B into chi B, capital P is equal to Pa plus Pb, where capital P is equal to P naught A into chi A plus P naught B into chi B. Okay, now once again I am coming to this classification, and I am telling that here ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law. Meaning of that one, total pressure is equal to Pa plus Pb. Ideal solutions will follow Raoult's law. That is, capital P is equal to Pa plus Pb. Non-ideal solutions will not follow Raoult's law. Capital P is not equal to Pa plus Pb. Capital P is not equal to Pa plus Pb. Then what is meant by not equal? Suppose if X is not equal to Y, immediately we will get two conditions. X is greater than Y or X is less than Y. Is it correct? If x is not equal to y, two terms are not equal, immediately we will get condition x is greater than y or x is less than y. If both are equal, this is only condition. Okay, ma? Now, if capital P is not equal to PA plus PB, then capital P is greater than PA plus PB or capital P is less than PA plus PB. According to the two types of solutions are there, for which the solutions which show positive deviation from Raoult's law, for that P is greater than PA plus PB. Solutions which show non-ideal solutions which show positive deviation from Raoult's law, capital P is greater than PA plus PB. Non-ideal solutions which show negative deviation from Raoult's law, capital P is less than PA plus PB. So all the three conditions are covered here. If capital P is equal to PA plus PB, the type of liquid solutions will follow Raoult's law. If capital P is not equal to PA plus PB, again two types are there. Non-ideal solutions which show positive deviation from Raoult's law, capital P is greater than PA plus PB. Non-ideal solutions which show negative deviation from Raoult's law, in which capital P is less than PA plus PB. Is it okay, ma? This is about today's class. And in next class, in what conditions capital P is equal to PA plus PB? By taking one example, I will explain the solution. And in what conditions non-ideal solutions will show positive deviation and negative deviation? By using the graphs also, I will explain in next class. I hope you are clear about today's class, ma. Okay. Thank you all. Have a nice day.